Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today, we are joined once again by Andrea Cook, founder of Andrea Cook Consulting and a true expert in clinical systems, sterilization design, OSHA compliance, and team training. With over 20 years of experience helping practices run smoother and smarter, Andrea is here to share what's challenging in 2025 and what every practice can be doing right now to stay ahead. If you're looking to strengthen your clinical systems and build a high-performing team, this episode is packed with practical, actionable advice. So let's get going. This episode was brought to you by ADEC. Hey, docs. On this podcast, I talk about a lot of different ways you can set your practice apart. But here's one that might surprise you. Maybe you haven't thought about it before, but the equipment you use can make a big difference, not just for the patient experience, but for you and your team too. That's why I want to let you know about a new line of orthodontic equipment from ADEC. I visited their headquarters in Oregon earlier this year to take a sneak peek for myself, and I have to say, I was impressed. ADEC has manufactured award-winning dental equipment for 60 plus years, and they're bringing that same level of excellence to ortho. From comfortable, compact patient chairs to a versatile workstation and delivery to ergonomic dental stools, ADEC orthodontic equipment is designed for a smooth and easy workflow. Day after day, patient after patient, see the difference it can make for your practice. Click the link in our show notes to learn more about ADEC Orthodontic Solutions. Andrea, it is so good to have you on with us again. Thanks for being here again.
Jill, what an honor to be on this podcast. I love it. It's Friday. It's beautifully sunny here. Thank you for having me. I look forward to chatting with you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you've been on before, but just in case somebody doesn't know who you are, I'd love it if you could just give us a quick, for anybody out there, who you are, what you do in our industry, and let's jump into what you've been doing since the last time we talked.
Well, a little bit about me. I started chairside. I worked chairside, and 23 years ago, I got the urge or wild hair or whatever you call it to start craziness to start a consulting business on the clinical side of the practice, because that's what I know. I've tried the other roles. It's just not my world. So I work on the clinic, anything on the efficiency side, anything on the sterilization, OSHA. I call it the good side of the practice because I love my world. I love the clinical side. So you can have the admin and you can have the TC and the marketing. Give me the clinic.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That, I remember way back when I was in an office and doing clinical, and I agree. I just loved it. I'd be like, give me a hard patient. I got this.
See, that was just one of my challenges. So we did columns when I was working chairside. So I would go in and I would know who I had during the day. And even if it was, I still remember this one patient, and he was a 14-year-old boy that was so hard to connect to. But it was just like, I got this. I got you at 3 o'clock.
Exactly.
I'm going to win.
Yeah.
You are not. I'm going to make you talk and wear your rubber bands. It was just a personal challenge, but I love that.
Yep. I totally agree. So here's what I thought I'd like to do for this episode is I really want to talk about just some of the new things that are happening, the challenges, new developments. I feel like every year we've got new things, but I think especially with where we're at right now and just the changes that are happening in our clinic operations and just what's going on out there, I thought, who better than to talk about this than with you? I'm wondering if you can just talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing and maybe some suggestions you're giving docs on how to prepare and adapt for some of these new developments and changes that are happening in the orthodontic clinical landscape, we'll say.
I think one of the biggest developments and biggest challenges from the clinical side of the practice is this digital piece.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's doing so much good for the offices, for the practices, but it is such a struggle. Finding time, somebody to manage. It's great if you want to implement this technology. And it's a great tool, but it takes time from my clinical team to understand it, learn it, manage it, do all of those pieces while I am working two
Yeah.
assistants down. I'm training a third one. I've got all these things going on, and it is a struggle. It really
Mhm.
is. One of the biggest things I see is with this technology coming in, I'm not giving my team members a piece of time to do it. They're trying to
Yeah.
juggle it in between patients, have got this going on, that going on, and balls are getting dropped all over.
Yeah.
It's not anybody's fault. It's just that's the way it is. So those designated times where somebody can sit down and focus on whether it's scans getting implemented, clin checks, whatever it is, tracking, all of those things. That's one of the biggest pieces. So it's a huge tool. It's great, but it's got to be managed on the backside. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of struggle from my teams saying, I can't do this. Struggles from my doctors saying, things are getting dropped all over the place.
Mhm.
Scans, that one didn't get put in. We don't have this. So we have to find how to manage it instead of just saying, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so interesting. And it when I think about it from my side, my side of the consulting component of it, it's you want to say, oh, we're just going to introduce this new digital system. But really, there are so many things that are affected. If your
Mm,
schedule hasn't been updated, if you aren't, I love what you said about pointing out that our teams have to have time to work on these digital systems. And I use the phrase a lot when I'm working with my docs and coaching them that you guys have to have time to work on your business while you're in your business.
yeah.
And that means that nobody wants to do some of these things outside of work, especially your teams, right? So if you aren't thinking about, do we have dedicated time to have my teams go in and confirm that all of our scans are in, or have we thought about maybe a software that's going to help us manage our all of these different, what am I trying to say,
But all the
systems,
different technologies. Yeah.
technology, yes, that's the word I'm looking for, that's out there, because nobody can just keep it all in their mind, especially in busy practices. Completely agree with you on that.
And one of the things you mentioned was, have you adjusted like your schedule to these new technologies? So on two sides of that, I see offices that want to dabble in a technology and then expect changes to happen on the schedule side and on the clinic side, but they're not because they're dabblers, or
Yep.
they don't adjust the schedule once they fully implement. My clinical team, when they hear we're going to implement this technology, this great tool, it's going to help you, we're going to have less patients a day, everything is going to be glorious, they see that as tomorrow things are going to be better.
Yes, and that not the case.
It gets much
6 months. 6 months, 8 months
yeah,
from now. Yeah,
having
yeah.
that realistic, when do we really expect to see a positive change
Mhm.
in either workflow or whatever it is, because it's going to get harder before it gets better. It's going to
Yeah,
get worse
yeah,
while
yeah.
I learn how to implement it, learn how to work with it, all of those things. It's going to get harder, but that's a big piece. That's one of the big pieces, is this technology that is so helpful to our teams, our offices, if it's implemented properly, managed properly, all of those things, it can be great. But
Yeah, yeah.
I see just offices struggling.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I talk a lot about with my startup docs. And I always say to them, there's never a better time than in your first year or your first couple years. And for anybody that's listening that maybe has not heard me say this before, now is the time if you want to do digital now, because it's so much easier while you're
Yeah.
slower to work on the systems, and you as a doctor to really understand the steps and what's needed. And then as you're bringing on team members, you guys are really setting the foundation.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, if you start on the front end and figure it all out, it doesn't matter if you change your modality later. An
Right.
aligner digital system is an aligner digital system. But if you've figured out what it takes and how you scan and how you keep track of it and how you get your trays back, or even if you're going to be doing it in house, if you figure out all of those systems, it's so much easier as your practice grows, as your team grows, to then be like, all right, we've got this good foundation in place. Then what you're talking about, Andrea, and we see this a lot with our more established practices where they want to come in and try and change it and think it's going to be easy.
Yeah. And that's just behind the ball at that. Like you were saying, start out from the beginning. I know you feel like you can't afford it. I can't do this right now, but this is the best time to do it.
Yep.
Even though it's always going to be hard, but waiting until you're behind. I don't have enough doctor time. My aligner cases aren't coming in, whatever it is. Now we're trying to throw solutions at it. You're behind the game and you're playing catch up already. It's so hard for us to see it from our perspective. We think, I just wish you would have done this 2 years ago, and I get it. It's scary.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears here a little bit, but speaking to our startup docs a little bit more and just talking about it's so much easier to get systems and things in place when we're slower again and when we're developing out our own practices, especially for a lot of docs who are doing startups. And I'd like to switch into the sterilization side just
the
a little
fun
bit.
side.
Yeah, exactly. I know, because again, this is where you live. And I'd love it if you could just talk to us a little bit about what does it really mean, especially in a newer practice, or maybe for a doc who's coming in and taking over maybe a more established practice, but maybe it's been an older practice.
Yeah.
What does it mean to really look at and think about a really effective sterilization process and systems? And what are maybe some key points that they need to be thinking about, from patient safety to employee safety to also just efficiencies? Because I just see that this is an area that, like you said, there's a reason that you do this and not a lot of other people do. This is not the super sexy side of the orthodontic practice. Nobody's, woohoo, I'm going into sterilization. But it's things that we have to think about. And it really has such big impacts on really everything within our practice.
It is. It goes down to the compliance and the safety, but it also goes into our efficiency. So I want to touch on a couple pieces. I've been having some reports in the last probably 2 years where we have been, as we're going through this transition period where we're having a lot of hiring, and Susie left and now we're hiring 2 new people, that new team members that are either coming in to apply for a job are saying, I won't work here. It's not safe. And I've had a couple of offices that have got a call to either the OSHA or their state dental board saying this office isn't safe. So you think about your employees saying something, you think about your patients, but it's also those team members that are potential team members that are coming in that are seeing things that can. So for new docs, getting a core system set up in place from the beginning is the cheapest thing you can do.
Yep.
The retrofit of, I think I'm going to do this, or I think I'm going to do that, or my rep said this, or I talked to my friend and he's doing it this way. Getting that set up from the get-go is the cheapest thing you will ever do. And it's not fun. Like you said, it's not sexy. I get it. But I go into offices and they're having to retrofit things because follow this somebody's or that somebody's, and it's expensive. And if we have new docs that are looking to purchase a practice or become an associate or hiring into a practice, do an evaluation. I had one doctor that bought a practice and called me in afterwards. It was over $30,000 to get it up to basic compliance. And he said, I don't have that money. I'm tapped out. So at least if you know it, you can use it to negotiate with either the price or whatever it's going to be, or at least be aware for your financing of what you're going to get into. If you are buying a practice, do an evaluation. On my website, there are 2 forms. One is the compliance for CDC and one is for OSHA. And that'll give you a kind of a rough gauge where you are if you're looking for a practice, at a practice. And I encourage you to at least know where you are. But it's just a lot. And then getting the systems behind it. Many of my clients now are saying, we're having trouble maintaining because Susie used to do that. She did it all the time and Susie left. And then we hired Sally and Sally came in and things just get dropped and they just don't get done. So we have to have those systems. So it's like your bonding protocol. It just continually maintains. Your sterilization protocol. It just maintains because you have the core piece.
Yeah.
The earlier you can get that set up, the less expensive it's going to be and the less work it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's still not going to be fun.
Yeah.
So sorry.
And it is exactly that. And I think probably a lot of docs are thinking, I love it that you said you've got some resources on your website, but it is tough because it's who do I talk to? Because you want to trust that it's the sales rep that you're talking to, but that they don't always, sometimes they're like, oh, let me sell you this sterilization unit. Just because it's a unit that's a prefabbed unit doesn't mean that it's going to hit the goals of what we need. And I think definitely doing your homework. And I love what you said. We're talking to docs that are out there looking at doing purchases. Like usually we're looking behind the hood at, or under the hood at finances and of that, but we aren't, you may not be thinking, well, when I do that walkthrough through this practice, I may be looking at, oh, I need to upgrade that x-ray or I need to upgrade those chairs. But are you actually walking through the sterilization area and saying, hey, it doesn't look like they even have a difference between dirty and clean, or you know, that machine that they're using looks really, really old. Am I going to have to update some of these things? Because docs, I'll tell you that these are the things that, like Andrea said, we can negotiate into our contracts. This is the things that we may be able to ask the bank for extra money. So just don't overlook that sterilization area. And if you're building out your practice, just make sure that you're really thinking about that as well.
And I don't want to say anything negative towards any of the sales rep, but two things about the sales reps. A, they have stake in the game.
Yeah.
So that, and a lot of them are focused on dental. And we do have nuances to our world, which I absolutely love. But it's important to know those nuances if you're designing a new office or doing a retrofit or whatever it is, the differences between dental. We still fall under the dental guidelines. We have to follow that for sure. But there are nuances with the orthodontic world that we really need to pay attention to. And many times that's not part of their knowledge base. They know the dental, but not the ortho. Just get really good pieces of information and solid. That way, when I do ask a doctor to spend money on a piece of equipment, I know it's the right fit for them. It's not, I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
It's what's going to fit you best rather than what I have in my pocket today.
Yeah, for sure. So let's stay in the same vein, but switch gears just a little bit and move over to the other unsexy side of this area.
I got it all.
Yeah, I know. You did. You did. And let's talk about OSHA and infection control standards and maybe what that is looking. You and I have both been in this industry a long time, and I can tell you from when I started and where things were at to, I mean, we were still using, I think we joked about this before. I can remember where there just used to be alcohol on the units and you just literally took your little 2x2 and wet up a little with alcohol, wiped off your instruments and put it right back on the rack again. Like that was the way we sterilized things. But let's talk a little bit about OSHA and infection control standards and what are you seeing now? Anything we need to be aware of, and just maybe thinking about those systems and protocols that they need to be not even necessarily doing, but just managing.
Yeah.
And what are you seeing there?
So for OSHA, in 1996, they came out with the standard precautions for care to make sure it was a safe work environment. And orthodontists immediately said, we don't have to do that because we're ortho. We don't do blood. We don't. You do. So one of the good things that came out of COVID was this big push that, yes, we do need to have a safe work environment. COVID isn't on the forefront anymore, but there are just as many things out there that we are exposed to that are the same or equal level of exposure to COVID. So I see a slide. We denied it in 1996. In 20, we hit the ground that said, oh my gosh, we need to do all of these things. And I'm seeing the slide back down. And our guard is getting down and things are back to, we don't need to do all of those things. And I just encourage you, there's always going to be something out there, whether it's the kid with strep or flu or any of those things that we're exposed to. So I just want to make sure that we're staying on track.
Yeah.
The two things that CDC, or excuse me, your state dental board and OSHA have really cracked down on are the logs, the documents, the protocols, the written pieces of it in your practice. And if they come into your practice and they don't see instrument reprocessing, you have to have a written protocol that said this is how an item, instrument goes from point of use through the process to point of use. If they don't have written protocols and then logs to back that up, who did the maintenance on the sterilizer, who made sure your OSHA training was done, those logs and protocols, if they're not there, that's one of their big stickling points at this point. So getting those pieces and looking back at your new docs.
Yeah.
This is one of the core pieces of your practice. This is one of the basics. Everybody has to have it. You have time, get it into place. If you're purchasing a practice, they don't have it, you're going to spend some money.
Yeah.
But we've got to have it, and the logs for compliance, but also that's how we maintain these systems and compliance. It doesn't just so-and-so knows how to do it and then it gets off track. It doesn't. We have a written protocol. So I think that's my biggest push right now is we've got to remember, we've got to get back to that. And then once we have that core, we just revisit it every month, every 6 months, at least every year to say, this is what we need to do for you as a team member to be safe working here and for our patients to be safe.
Yeah.
But it's got to come down to that.
And now a word from the sponsors who make this podcast possible. Hey, docs. If you want to have a great business, the right practice management software is essential. But some can be slow, outdated, and lacking good support. That's why I recommend Greyfinch to all orthodontists. It's the fastest, most reliable, and most secure platform to grow your business and improve your efficiency. It's completely web-based, so you can run your entire practice anywhere and from any device with no servers, no downloads, or hidden fees. They even have the most helpful and responsive support team around. Right now, Greyfinch is giving a $500 discount to our listeners. Visit greyfinch.com/Jill Allen to learn more and see why it's one of the fastest growing providers in America. Hey, docs, let's talk about Smile Suite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud Smile Suite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. Smile Suite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with Smile Suite, because every smile deserves a suite of excellence.
Yeah. And I think you're so right on track. And as you said, there's never a better time as startup doctors to be getting these systems in place. I think the hard thing is, and I think this is, again, with doctors who've had team member changes to taking over a practice to a brand new doc, is this isn't the things that you guys went to school for and were like, woohoo, I cannot wait to manage my OSHA. Woohoo. That wasn't where you were going, man, I can't wait to be a business owner so I can do this. But it is the things that we have to do. And I think the beauty of knowing that, Andrea, there are people like you in our industry that we can go to and get direction and help from, or there are a lot of online companies that are now coming up and being able to help us with this and managing it, where we don't physically need paper anymore or these big reams of books all over the place. But to your point, we have to have logs. We have to be doing trainings. We have to be making sure that our team members are going to the trainings that they need to, or that our X-ray machine is registered in the state that we're working, or just all of those little, like I said, unsexy side of things, but we have to do it. And one of the suggestions that I give to doctors is, and I don't know how you feel about this, Andrea, is that we both know that there are these ebbs and flows in our industry, right? We're going to have busier months and slower months. And I always jokingly say, if you're going to take a trip abroad, take it in May or September, because you're always going to, for the most part, be slow in those months. But also, docs, if you're thinking about, oh gosh, this is really hitting, I do need to focus on these things. I do need to work on this. The last thing you want to do is tackle this in July. Okay. We do not need to be tackling this in July or August or January or February, because we know we've got these little flows in our practice where we are busier and slower. I suggest to my docs, like, look for your slow months. And instead of thinking, oh my gosh, the sky's falling because my phones aren't ringing enough, they'll start ringing again.
Yeah.
Use that for your OSHA training, your infection control, getting your system set up. And I'm not saying don't do anything throughout the rest of the year, but I'm saying, if you're thinking about what Andrea has been saying, I need to get this under control, maybe look to come up with a plan to really dive in and get a plan for what you're going to do. Maybe start looking at some of that or working on those things in your slower times, instead of worrying about it being slow.
What I see happen a lot is exactly that. They'll say in September, I'm going to work on my OSHA. OSHA's like an elephant. Yep. You're not going to eat it in one bite. It's going to take a long time to get through it. Yep. It requires training the person that's going to be managing it. When I started as OSHA coordinator in my practice, they said, do you want to be the OSHA coordinator? And I went, sure. No idea what that meant, what I had to do. And I see that happening a lot. It's tasked to a team member. So at that point, they start investigating, what do I need to do? I don't even know where to start. So now we're into October and we still haven't got anything done. Working on a plan to say in September, this is the first bite of the elephant is in September. How are we going to take that first bite? And don't think of it as I have to do all of this in one day or week. Yes. It's a lot. The good thing about all of these protocols is once you get them in place, it's a maintenance. And it doesn't take that much time to maintain it until you let it lapse for 5 years and you say, I haven't touched it. So we want to make sure we get it set up and then just maintain it. And that doesn't really require, it requires attention, but not the big elephant eating task that the first part is.
Yeah.
So get some training. I was talking about training. I remember back in the day when I was assisting and we had OSHA training, and it meant an hour free lunch for us. And we said OSHA 3 times and that was it. We were done. OSHA training. It's not you have to, nope. It's not like that anymore. There's no free lunch anymore.
Yeah. That is for sure. And again, good for us though, because
it is.
We really do and should be paying attention to these things. Our patients deserve it. Our employees deserve it. You as doctors deserve it. Everybody wants to work in a safe environment and know that we are truly doing the best that we can to provide the best care for our patients out there. So let's switch gears to the
do something sexier.
Yeah, even sexier.
Which is anything.
But let's talk about inventory now.
That's right up there.
I know. I'm telling you, like you definitely picked it. But let's switch gears now into inventory. And again, that's why I wanted to have you on again, because there are so many. These are just all of those things that I think it's so easy to push this stuff in the corner, or like you said, I'll get to that later or whatnot. But what are you seeing right now with just inventory and inventory control, and what we're seeing now with how people are managing it and not necessarily compromising on different things? What are you seeing out there right now?
I'm hearing a lot of chatter and a lot of panic about what are the costs going to be in the next year as this new world evolves. I'm not going to get into any of that because we don't know. Yeah. The thing I'm seeing a lot of offices struggle with is when we start talking about the high cost of everything, a lot of offices are asking their team members to check pricing at 10 different places for every item. My teams can't afford that, to be honest. And that's not the most efficient way to shop. Yeah. Bulk shopping is the way to go to make sure that I can order this and the supply will last for at least 3 months and not worry about, do I have to come in and in between patients, I need to go over and order some more etch because we're out of it. That's where we spend a lot of time and money. And when we're shopping at 10 different places, my team members spending a lot of time, but we're spending a ton on shipping.
Yes.
So buying in bulk is good too, but buying from one supplier or a lower inventory of suppliers is going to save you money. So don't penny pinch and lose a lot of money wasting time.
Yeah.
The other thing is having a system in place to know when you're out of something. I haven't worked in offices where once a month the team member will have to go in and do inventory of everything. What a waste of time. Yeah. Have a system to say, we check this many in, we check this many out, so I know what I have, and I don't have to spend time looking for that. The other thing is, as we talked about, transitioning team members, making sure you have more than one person know what's going on in that inventory system. Yeah. So even if Mary takes a week off, somebody can go in and automatically order. It can be an Excel spreadsheet in your office. It can be as simple as that. That is all you really need.
Yep.
It can be a computer system, Asana, any of those will be great too. But have a system to where things are recorded to where somebody else can automatically get in and order something.
Yeah.
But the time spent needs to be cut out.
Yeah.
The inventory and hours spent looking for things, we just can't afford it right now.
Yeah. And to your point, I think a lot of times, and I see this too, and especially in our bigger, more established practices where, yes, it does seem, let's try and save money, cut our costs. And you task this employee, like you just said, with going in and trying to find the best cost. But the thing that I think a lot of docs forget about is what many times it's our top paid employee that is also the one that we've trusted with our money to do our inventory. And so you think if they're taking, I don't know, an hour, 3 hours, 4 hours at however much their hourly rate is to go to save you a couple bucks, even $5, are you really saving that money? So I totally agree with you on that. But also, this is something I talk a lot with my smaller practices and my younger docs is we really gone are the days where we just want these packed to the gill offices with inventory. More than 3 months at any given time is we just do not need that much stuff around us.
And then they have a hard time when they have that much stuff. The organization of it, I find, drops greatly to where all of a sudden we're going through the inventory and we're saying, oh, I just found 6 bottles of Assure.
Yeah.
And that are expired. Because they got pushed somewhere or set somewhere and get lost. And Assure is an amazing product, but it's also an expensive piece that if we're not managing it and the organization isn't there, we're going to get pieces lost. Yeah. And I don't know with the way things are now, how much I would be buying ahead time too. I don't know where things are going to go with things. I just say things.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. We're just in such a different space now that less is more, I think, right now. And even the way we design offices, I hear it all the time. And I think it's always funny. Again, I've got a lot of my docs that'll put their offices up on the Facebook groups or this, that, or the other. And I can always tell the age of the doctor that is commenting on them, the office, because it's always, there isn't enough storage. And yes, to a point, we have to think about that. But again, I can remember in offices, and I'm sure, Andrea, you can too, of the past where you would have rooms bigger than your break room just dedicated to storage. And
Yeah.
we just don't need that anymore. Again,
Nope.
3 months. That's my take home message, docs. No more than 3 months. And I think what Andrea was saying is just get your core companies. I would say no
Yeah.
more than 3 companies that you're going between that you feel good about. And if you want to price shop a little bit, but when it's all said and done, we need to get it ordered, not have more than we need, and get your team member working on the other things in the office
Yeah.
that
And I agree with you that paid team member, where do I want them?
Yeah. Training the
Sitting
new team
behind
member or
or sitting behind a computer ordering etch.
Yeah.
No, I want you either with a patient or moving the office in a productive fashion towards where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's where I want them, not behind a computer.
Yep, for sure. All right, so we've made our way around the office, and I want to finish with us coming back into the clinic again. So let's talk just a little bit about, I know you and I both, we're seeing lots of movement in our clinic with our clinic teams, and finding good team members to training team members, new ones coming in and coming on. I'm wondering if you can just talk a little bit about what that is looking, and maybe some suggestion for doctors out there, and kind of getting our team to a place where we're going to have strong team dynamics, consistent clinical training, just some tips and tricks there, maybe, or thoughts on that.
I think I've always been a proponent of, I don't call them review systems, I call them performance planning sessions, where we want to look at where you want to be in the next year. And doctors hate them. I get it. It's not fun, but I think it is one of the most crucial pieces to productive team members that you can do. This is never tied with finances.
Yep.
It's never tied to money.
Yep.
It's just a
Totally
conversation.
agree. Yep.
So I would say this is even a more important time to be having those, because maybe a team member would open up to you and say, hey, I've hit a wall. I am on overload right now and I need a break, rather than waiting until that team member says, I'm out of here.
Yep.
It's not changing. You're not seeing it. And if team members are listening, I encourage you, if you're at that point where you're hitting overload, sit down and talk to your doctor. Oftentimes the doctors are so busy, rightly doing what they do, that they see you just plugging away, not really understanding the depth of your overload or your overwhelm with training. And I'm trying to manage digital workflow while I'm ordering and all of these pieces. So that communication right now, I think, is even more critical than it has been, just to touch base and say, where are you? What's going on? What do you need? Whatever that is. And in retention of team members, that's going to help you greatly, because you can see those, I've hit a wall, I'm on overload, I'm out of here's, before they get there. And you can say, okay, I can take some of this. Maybe I can take ordering off your plate. I can take some of this off your plate to give you a breather. But identifying before that is that communication that has to happen. And that's my biggest push right now. Getting systems and training protocols and all of those things in place too. But we've got to have that communication that we don't just expect our highest paid team member to do it all and smile.
Yeah. I could not agree with you more. And that's something we advocate for in our consulting side of it, where I call them more rhythm meetings, where at least once a quarter, you're sitting down with your team members and really going through. And I agree. I never suggest attaching those to money in any way, but sometimes your team member, and I'm going to say this, docs, this is something that's done one-on-one. This is not done in your monthly meeting where you're just like, okay, guys, what do you need from me?
Great job.
Yeah. Great job. And if anyone needs anything, just let me know. When you give your team members room to talk one-on-one with you, or one-on-one with your office manager, if you're a big enough office to do that, and have the space, because just remember, not everybody wants to talk about their issues in front of everybody else, number one, but not everybody is comfortable doing that. We've got different personalities in our practice, and we've got the ones that would talk about anything and everything at any given point, and you've got the ones that are a little bit more quieter and a little more introspective or whatnot, and they're going to want comfortable space to be able to say that. But I do believe if you can give your team members an opportunity and it's consistent, they will start to open up to you and
Yeah.
tell you the things. And I think that is really what kind of pours into and plays into your office culture
Absolutely.
and this healthy environment versus kind of this cutthroat environment that I can see a lot of times, or those environments where they're like, I can't figure it out. Like we've constantly got a revolving door here in our practice. So I love what you said there. Let's talk a little bit, and I know you were alluding to this, but just employee overload. And for a doctor, if they're looking in, or an office manager, what are maybe some tips or tricks for docs to spot if something is maybe going on in their practice? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. Anytime there's any type of a personality work change, that usually signifies something is going on. That being said, doctors, you're seeing patients all day. You're seeing, whether you see 30 or 100 patients a day. It really is hard for you to spot those things. Office managers or your HR people, they need to be more tuned into that. But I still think spotting it is one thing, but that communication, one of the things my strongest team members have a hard time doing is saying, I'm struggling. I'm supposed to be the backbone of the office. I'm the clinical coordinator. I'm strong. I can do this. And I just need to buck up and do it. And in front of a team, don't ask them to do that. Give them the space to do that, and you will see those things. But I think you can identify it by behaviors, but it's got to come down to that communication that gives them a space to say, yes, I have a lot going on, but I'm really struggling right now.
Yeah.
And what can we do about it? It's
Yeah.
not what you can do.
Yep.
It's what can we do about it? So I come back to spotting it, but it's also having that communication with them that gives them a space.
Yeah. Yeah. And I again, gone are the days where we've got the doctor that's just shut off in their office and the team that's shut off in their space. And I think anytime we see really good functioning practices, it's everybody working together, everybody being a little bit vulnerable to be able to say what they need, and really truly learning to work together to have a successful practice.
Those are my strong teams. My teams that are struggling are the ones that are the doctor, the team, the front, the back. We've got them separated, and it's just this fighting match going on all day of frustration. Until you break that down and get it open, you're going to have that area of conflict, and you're not going to have team members that truly get where they get to their potential and to the potential of the office if you do that, if you don't.
Yeah. Andrea, this has been, I know you and I could just talk and talk and talk, but this was great. I think that we're able really to talk about a lot of those core areas right now that I think we just needed to address. And again, as we said earlier, this is the unsexy side sometimes of it, but these are the core things that really, prop up our business. It isn't just about getting new patients in the door and starting.
We've got to manage them once they get there.
Exactly. That's almost the easy part. It's the next 18 to 24 months that's the hard part. So if somebody wants to learn more about what you're doing, about your services, maybe they just are like, maybe I need to just reach out and get a little help or get a little other person's perspective. What's going to be the best way that they can do that?
Whatever works best for them. They can email, they can call. If I'm in an office, I don't answer text, they can send in email. Please, as you are working through these things, let me be a resource to you and your docs, whoever is on this. I work with a lot of doctors for a year before they actually hire me.
Yep.
Just use me as a sounding board. Say, I heard this. Is this true? Is this accurate? What's going on? I'm happy to help. We're all going through, everybody is, a lot. And when you get into the sterilization and OSHA, there's just a lot of decisions. And it hurts me to see doctors who have spent a lot of money on something. And then I come in and say, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So let me help you through that before you get to a full office design or whatever it is. I'm happy to have
Yeah.
those conversations. The
Well,
unsexy conversations.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's me.
That's me.
And
But we do have fun.
yes, exactly. And that's what I've always appreciated about you, Andrea, is you are always willing to help, and always you're definitely the who people can trust and can go to, and you're going to lead them in the right direction, no matter whether you're working with them or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
it's
right.
a wonderful industry we're in. Now the tough part.
Exactly. Exactly. All righty. You know how I like to finish this up. I like to finish us up with a little speed round. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, here we go. What is one daily habit or ritual that you think helps you stay productive or balanced?
I get up every morning that I am in my home office and I go to the gym.
Love that.
Whatever I'm doing, I'm getting my day organized. I'm getting my head organized. And otherwise, if I don't do that, I just feel loose and unorganized all day. And I find I'm not very productive.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're great workouts. Sometimes they're not. But
you're still doing it. You're doing the
I'm
work.
doing it.
Yep. That's great. That's great. What is your go-to strategy for getting unstuck when facing a tough problem?
Walk away.
Oh, yes.
So I get stuck on a project, sitting behind my computer sometimes, whether I'm writing, working with a client, whatever it is. And I'll say, "Whoop, boss says I got to take a walk."
Yep.
I'll walk away and I'll go, I don't know if it's a 15-minute walk or move somewhere else just to clear my head. And then I can come back, and most of the time things will come to me.
Yeah.
There's this hill I like to go for a run, and it's about a 4-mile run. And I swear there are piles of my problems all along the trail, the whole way down and the whole way up, because I could just do that. And it's just, got it.
Yeah.
And it comes to me.
I love that visual. I'm very much, that's the way I also do things. And I've never thought of it that way, but I've got a loop that I do too. And now I'm going to think about that every time I'm doing
You're going to see
loop.
those little piles. Right?
I am. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. What is one piece of advice you wish you had followed earlier in your career?
Trust your instincts and go for it. It's hard to do. It's leaps of faith. But if you have confidence in yourself, holding back is not going to get you anywhere. So if you have a vision, that's how I got started in my consulting business. It's like you took a leap of faith that said, I can do this. And if you have that, you can do it.
Yep, exactly. As my tattoo says.
And love what you're doing.
Yep. Figure it out. You can do it. You can do it. All righty. And then the last one, what is one business idea you've recently seen that you wish you had thought of?
Oh, man. Chat GPT. What it is doing for our practice, for our lives with balance, but what it's doing for us and in our practices is huge. So I wish I would have thought of that. But
absolutely.
On to the next.
Yeah, exactly. And then there'll be something else. So who knows what that is? It's, as always, been a pleasure having you on. Thanks for just giving us your wisdom, and can't wait till next time. Thank you.
Can't wait till next time. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.